Well, he just celebrated 1 year at the helm of the Niagara-on-the-Lake Chamber of Commerce. Let's welcome Eduardo Lafforgue. What a year it has been for you leading the chamber under some difficult times, Eduardo. First off, congratulations on your 1 year anniversary.
Thank you, thank you. And what a year, Mike. It has been. If I can use the word unexpected, it will be an understatement of what it has been.
Collaboration has really been the name of the game. When we talked to you about a year ago, you said one of your goals was to attract locals for your tourism here in Niagara-on-the-Lake. You've been forced now to go that way, and you've got sort of a stage set from local to hyper local first, and then moving on to the province.
Exactly.
You've been forced to do that.
Well, yes, I'm glad. I mean, you're absolutely right. Local. I love the fact that the people are now rediscovering their own backyard. And when I mean local, it's a larger sense of local, because it's 150 kilometers around us. So it's really that hyper local, which is really the town, local, the region, and the provincial level. That it's, and I think Canadians all across Canada are rediscovering their background, their backyards, and this is interesting because it brings a different dimension. You may have going in front of some restaurants for years, and you actually never stop thinking what that restaurant look like. Suddenly now, a lot of people are not in Europe or the States or the beach or whatever. They stop at that restaurant and they discover that they have some fantastic, what I call tourism assets in their backyard, and they're discovering that. And this is something that we were pushing already for, and yes, we were forced to do it. And we also have the support now from the federal government and the Ontario government to go in that direction.
In Niagara-on-the-Lake, a new group has been formed called Residents for Sustainable Tourism. How are you working with that group to ensure that their messages are being heard by the Chamber?
Well, also last year when I spoke local, I actually spoke local after speaking about the residents. And I think it's very important to include the residents in our strategies. A destination has to create value for the financial value for businesses. It has to create the social cultural value for both residents and visitors alike, and it has to create environmental value. If the three values are not balanced and don't work together, and they're part of the DNA, it won't be there. You cannot add those values later and say, oh, now I remember that I have someone that we need to include. No, we need to include everybody. What I would like to see is really inclusivity in all aspects. And it's very, very important. And I profit the occasion that you're giving me today to talk, to take a strong, extremely strong stance against racism of any kind, of religion, of color, of race, of whatever. And the chamber I've been trying to have the most inclusive chamber possible. The Bed and Breakfast Association is part of our board. The Merchant Group on Queen Street is part of our board right now, and we welcome to talk to residents. And this is inclusivity, and we take a strong, very strong stance against any kind of racism. We will not tolerate at the chamber any kind of racism or even dealing with messages that are offensive and racial profiling. So it's I thank you the occasion, because I think it's so important to take a strong stance against these kind of things.
Eduardo, phase 3 began on Friday. What also began on Friday was Niagara-on-the-Lake's mask bylaw. Are you seeing that people visiting the town are wearing masks following that bylaw?
We saw much more masks during the weekend. I still have to say that we don't have enough people wearing masks outside, and the first 2 weekends of the trial of closing the street were a success on physical distancing. Definitely success on physical distancing, which was our main goal. This is why we asked that to the council to have that physical distancing. The surveys that were finally available last Friday were for the first 2 weekends were definitely saying that the physical distance was a success. I don't know where we're going from here. You know that this is a very controversial issue, but it's we need to try to enforce more the idea of the wearing the mask, because it's important for residents, but it's also very important for visitors. And if we don't work all together, we're going to regret it in the long term. Because we may get in difficult situations. So, but I also have to say that I was talking this morning with my colleagues in Collingwood. I was talking with people in different DMOs across Ontario, and they all have exactly the same problem. It's very important to understand that reopening doesn't mean recovered. It's two different things. So we are on the way of recovering.
It's that first step,
It's
towards
a
recovery.
first step. And we need to cherish that first step and nurture that first step as much as we can, because otherwise we will go back. So it's very important. It's very, very, very important that we all put from our side. I see a lot of collaboration, but I also saw some people that are resisting because they think they're entitled to not wear a mask. So it's sometimes difficult. And
well, we'll remind people right now, Eduardo, that there is a mask bylaw in Niagara on the Lake, even before there is a regional bylaw, which takes effect later this week. Thanks for joining us today. And as the crowds get bigger, bringing a mask on your visit to Niagara on the Lake is even more important. And congratulations once again on 1 year with the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you very much, Mike. Wear a mask. Bye-bye.